All right, what is going on, everybody? It is Sunday, July 16th. We have a new day and a new week to get this thing rolling and seeing what we can do and what the market's going to give us. So, hope everyone had a great weekend. Hope everyone was able to reset themselves because we are about to dive in. Now, last week we ended pretty well with mainly the JPY pairs. All of them played out exactly as predicted. Actually, I ended last week 100%. So every single pair that I called and I wrote down as bullish and bearish in the description all played out exactly as they should have. The only one that didn't play out fully was GBP AUD. I said that it needed to shoot up before it needed to drop, and it shot up, but it never dropped. So if you were patient enough and you didn't take that sell, awesome. Or if you're still waiting, I suggest you still wait, maybe a little bit. Who knows? I didn't go over it. I might not go over it. So let's get started and go over what we're looking for for the first pair. So we have USDCAD. Now this one we had for a sell all the way down to the daily last week, mainly because of the signature setup that presents itself. So let me go to here, the USDCAD. All right, let me hide some of this stuff. I don't need that. I don't need that. So the daily setup on this last week was perfect, right? It shot up, broke down, broke a new level. So we had to change a character. Big change of character right there. Following that is a pullback, in which case it pulled back to the 50 EMA. And the moment it hit the 50 EMA, there was divergence. That divergence started from this peak down, pulled back to the 61.8 and dropped, tanked for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days straight. We caught that sell around here because I didn't look at the daily days before, but it finished up going to the recent low, bouncing off that blueberry, and now it's pulling back again. I don't know if this is going to be a reversal, but it is retesting recent resistance on the daily. So we could see potential reversals heading back down, maybe go down towards the 500 SMA here on the daily. And that's a very big indicator. So if you've been following anything that I've been talking about over the time span of the last few months, using the 500 SMA, it is a powerful indication of, well, anytime price goes to it, it immediately reverses or it breaks through it hard and pulls back into it. So either we're going to see a breakthrough hard, going to go and retest that 500, in which case, if it does, we'll look for something like this, right? And that's a solid indicator right there. That's support, right? So if it's going to drop, that could be a solid area where it wants to drop, or it's going to hit it, break off of it, and continue. Right. So let's dive in and see exactly what it is. So the peak formation is a peak formation low because of the 1-day rise that happened, which makes sense. But it also broke a structure here. So it broke down, it's pulling back as we speak. I don't see any heavy divergence here. Maybe there's something on the daily MS. There was something, but it's not very identifiable. This thing looks like it's going to continue down. Just off of those two aspects, right? That's all I really need to know. It is hitting the water right now, which is actually good. So on a 4-hour time frame, it broke structure, which is great. It's pulling back, which is great. So like what happened here in the daily over this section up here, because that was a daily, that movement, this part right here was exactly where it hit the daily 50 EMA. So now it's doing the same thing. It might extend its push a little bit because I've seen hits where it goes into the 50 and the next candle shoots up. So it actually could continue here. Let me go to the 1-hour. It's probably going to go and retest this trend line area, which is right on top of this blueberry. So if this is solid, which on the 1-hour perspective, you have a change of character here, but it also broke these structures, right? And that's the more, it's not showing it on this indicator, but it's clear as day. If you have eyes, you can see that. So that's a clear break. And now what we're going to do is if this is a pullback or if this is something we want to enter in on, we're going to go off of this point right here for the hidden divergence. We're going to look for it to pull back to the 50 EMA. And if it shoots down to there and bounces off of it, we'll look to take profit into that zone. Now let me see if there's any support. Look at that. There's support on the 1-hour here. Let's see if there's any 4-hour. There's a 4-hour support here and a 4-hour support here. So who knows? It could drop a little bit lower down. CAD pairs usually tend to do that, especially kind of like GBP pairs where they don't just wick off the EMAs. They tend to go past it. Now here, there's a little bit of wickage, right? So it does hit it a little bit, but it's nothing significant to the point where it's going to just touch it and go, right? It's gonna push past it a little bit. So I want to see a drop down for a sell, not a sell, but just a bearish move, and then we'll look for a pullback, right? So there you go. Pull back to that area. Let me draw up my Fibonacci based off of these peaks right here. So I'm going to go off of this point, and we're going to go bring it to the high that it's at now. At the time of making this video, this is the current high. So if price shoots up a little bit more, I'll base it off of that shot up and I'll move it. And then that's when I'll see adjustments in the 61.850 zone. So at the moment, we're seeing this in the 61.8 and the 50 line all match up with where the 50 is currently at, which tells me that this is probably going to push up just a little bit more, maybe about here, who knows. And then we'll see a solid hit down to the 50. So that's what I'm going to wait for. I'm going to see exactly what happens. If all the other stuff aligns, we'll get the hidden divergence that we're looking for. Price will drop down past this point. Well, it's a horrible line, but mainly right there, right? It'll drop down past it, give us hidden divergence, and then we'll look for a continuation buy. So that's what we're looking at. Now let's go to the next one. EURCHF. And EURCHF was actually one of the pairs I have written on the board right here to keep an eye on. So I'm curious to see exactly how this played out by, hold on, I'm writing on my board right now. So I'm going to say UCAD is a temporary buy. So EURCHF, keep eyes on EURCHF. Now I got to start writing why I said that, because I just didn't say look at the daily or anything, but we got a peak formation low. Oh, it broke structure. That's why. Okay. EURCHF, EURNZD, EURJPY, EURAUD. So we're going to go to here. Been liking the JPY pairs. They've been playing out crazy. Just making sure that's right. Okay, so let's look at what we got. So on the 1 hour, it broke through last week, right? Which is solid. I wanted it to break through because I needed it to go back to the 4 hour. So that's why I said to keep an eye out. So it dropped down. It's inside of two support trend lines right now. And it looks like it's going to continue up to this push because right now it's already got hidden divergence. The problem is it's got hidden divergence and it's already past this point, which tells me this is not the valid entry. But this one right here is valid for the hidden divergence, which is this point, right? You want to look for identifiable points on the RSI, and right now that's the most identifiable one. So we're going to take it from here down. Right, currently it's at the 50, which is not lined up with the 50 EMA. We want to see it shoot up. So my prediction is we're going to see a shot up, hit off of that 50, and then we'll look for a reversal back down. Overall, that's how I would look at things. But I got to take into account where it's at on the support line, because this looks like it's a channel for me. Let me go to the daily. So we have it. Oh, did it take all these? It did. And we can't really use this. This isn't hidden divergence. But I'd say just based off what I'm seeing here, it does want to continue up. So I don't know if I actually want to take this for a sell yet, because that's a shark fin on a daily time frame, and those are very, very powerful, especially when it's trading on a zone. So I might actually just look for this to be a continuation up overall. This might go up to the top here, maybe this point. And if it's the channel's correct, so I'm just going to say look for buys. We're bullish on EUROCHF for the night, and then I'm going to see how it plays out moving forward from there. But ideally, if we're trading for a buy, it has to meet the requirements. So far, we have a peak set down here. It needs to break it, meaning it has to drop down a little bit further. So this is the peak. We're going to go to this point. We're going to go up to the current high, and we're going to look for. Don't need this anymore. Well, actually, I have the 61.8 here. Yeah, this actually does want to push up. So we have like a trend line within a fib within a fib, right? So if we're gonna go based off of this one for the push up, it needs to drop past it a little bit. It's probably gonna drop past the 50 EMA a little bit, maybe go down and hit that 50, but I would set pendings here for buys, and then we'll go from there. I'm gonna set a pending on EURCHF after this call because it's not ready yet. So pending EURCHF. Okay. Euro AUD, peak formation high. Shit. How did I do that? Didn't know I could do that. Okay. I'm on the 5 minute. What the heck? Let's see. Bear with me. You know, it's funny. I didn't even go over where is EURCHF? Oh, I didn't even look at support resistance on this one. 1 hour support, 4 hour resistance, daily resistance too. But I still believe it's going to break it. This is going to break it. It's going to go up another day, hit that catch up there, which is the 4 hour water. It's a little bit past that actually. So yeah, we're looking for buys. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so Euro AUD now. 2-day peak formation low. This was set up for a potential sell. It didn't work. I didn't take that trade either, so there's a bonus. We got daily support or resistance popping in with 1 hour resistance and 4 hour resistance. I meant, yeah, it's 1 hour. Okay, I'll come back to that. Looks like it's breaking this trend line right now. Right, broke it. This is going to continue up. It bounced. Look at it. It bounced right off the blueberry and the 500. So we're seeing a total move of a push up happening right now. Well, it actually looks like it's more so consolidating on these EMAs, and it's going to continue to maintain its consolidation ranging motion. Oh, it bounced off the 50. Not solid information for a buy yet, but it definitely seems like it wants to continue up because it's been in this big time resistance area. Let me get this gone. This is no longer valid in my eyes. I think this is going to continue. We got a trend line from here going across. So yeah, we're going to look for a continued buy. Don't want that red line, don't care. Yep. 4 hours resistance. This is a continued buy. The only thing is that I don't like how it's set up. The EMAs are all tight, and if this, the only way I'm going to take it is if my signature trade pops up. And right now there's nothing here. This just tells me it's going to continue straight up. So if anything, we're just going to say Euro AUD is a buy for tonight. But if it doesn't present what I'm looking for, I'm not touching it. Gotta be disciplined enough, and that's something I'm consistently working on. And anybody that's trading should know that that's a never-ending discipline. It's always happening. Okay, so with that being said, let's look at the next pair, GJ. Okay. This one last week is actually the one that played out. I made this one of the signature trades for what I'm putting together a whole reel of just setups. So it's going to be awesome. Don't need this. That was peak formation low. Cool. Delete. This one set up perfectly. Shot up, pulled back. Now this one I actually entered in on down here. And I know it wasn't on the 50, but it hit the imbalance. It had a perfect shot up from a break of structure the previous day. So this was, in my eyes, all this was going up because it needed to do a pullback that matched the higher time frame. So, and now I'm bearish on it. So if I look at a 4 hour right now, let me delete these because this isn't necessary anymore. I'm looking at this to be a sell because of the following reasons. So we have this peak up here down to this low, right? So it went up to the 61.8, hit the 4 hour and 1 hour resistance. And now I believe that this is going to continue back down. Now it's either going to be ugly in a sense that like it just drops straight. And when I say ugly, because usually people are like, oh, look for an M and then a drop. It's very possible it could do that. But I think it can do something like this where it shoots up and then it just keeps dropping. It doesn't stop. Like it doesn't just want to, it's not going to do what you want it to do because you're telling it to do it. So I'm sitting here thinking that this is going to drop. I'm still bearish on it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm staying with my confidence on this because I've seen this play out so many times. If we're looking at the daily, I mean, look at that breakdown, pull back to the catch up, and this thing is going to continue its move down. And if you know anything from what I was explaining on the 4 hour about how it moves between the EMAs, take a look at this. Let me zoom in. Damn it. Sorry about that. Oh no, I'm on GJ. All right, so it went down. It didn't hit that 200 EMA yet. So this thing is setting up for something like this. Bounce off the trend line, come down, and then continuation. That's my vision for it. Now, if it doesn't do this, what it's going to do is it's going to extend the push up higher to around this area. And that's when it's going to really decide to tank, which is very possible. I mean, I'm not going to care either way, but I am bearish on this overall, just for how obvious the push down was. And on top of that, I look, it broke through that 500 500 moving average, came back, retested it, and every single time that happens, it always comes and tanks, right? Let me just show you history of it doing it. So you know I'm not bullshitting you guys. Which, if you've been on here and you're still watching my shit after all these times I've been doing it, then you clearly know I'm not bullshitting you. Let's see. If it wants to load, if it doesn't load, I'm not going to show you guys. Hit off the 500 continuation. Here we go. Dropped down, broke through it, came back, pushed a little bit past it, but ultimately went back down, touched it, came back down, hit a trend line. Here, broke through it, came back, touched it, came back, touched it, came back. Like it just it doesn't stop. They just go in between these EMAs every single time, right? So we can assume that that's exactly what this is going to do today. Hit that 500. I think it's going to drop all the way back down to here. Touch on the 800 moving average because it missed it. And it's bouncing off the 500 and the 200 right now. So I'm still bearish. I'm going to hold it and see what happens. So I'm going to say sells on GJ. Even though it says it's a peak formation low, I don't buy into it. Like I said, I don't take every single call that it makes. Now there is a trend line here. I'm gonna make it well aware so that we're all like in the know. Right? And if it does break this down, then of course it's going to continue down to this trend line here on the daily again. At that point, I'll see what's going to do because it's right here is support. This is a supply and demand. So I have until at least this area to know whether or not I'm either going to pull it or hold it all the way down. We'll see how it plays out. So GJ, I'm holding for bearish. And on top of that, it's hitting the 50 right now, but there's no hidden divergence. So automatically, this is out of my mind to take a buy for this. I wouldn't touch this. Now this one's different, right? There's hidden divergence, clear as day. There's point from here, so I took it. There's no hidden divergence here. I don't want to touch that. Doesn't mean it can't go up, but it just doesn't mean I'm not gonna touch it for a buy. So I'm sticking to the sell. GJ. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Doesn't matter. Okay. Next, AD Chief. Peak formation low 3 days ago. Chief JPY did we want last week. I'm trying to find a pair I'm not touching. Definitely won't be this pair again. Yeah, fuck this pair. So, what was it again? AUDJPY. This one's playing out a lot longer than anticipated. Weirdo. You can see that it dropped, pulled back to the 61.8, whipped off of it on the 4-hour water. And look at that. It dropped, it didn't hit it yet. Well, it actually did. So you actually could have put your take profit right there, and this would have been a perfect setup. Or right here, it doesn't matter. Just because I take these calls doesn't mean it always has to go right to the bottom again. That's one thing I want to make aware for anybody that is watching this and has paid attention to my shit. So I will drop nuggets in here for those of you that care. Usually I can take the sell from up here and then drop it down to the recent low. But if there is support zones on the 1 hour and the 4 hour and shit, even the daily, like clearly you can make an adjustment call and dictate where you want to actually put your take profit. Some could have took the 4-hour support, some could have took the top of the 1 hour, in which case you would have been spot on, and depending on the spread, could have taken serious profit. So this pair is still kind of iffy at the moment. It's still choppy. It says peak formation low, but I would have told people to sell right here. I would have been saying, look for sells, look for sells. Let's look at the daily and then we'll zoom out. Okay. Don't need this anymore. Daily's beneath the 50. It's breaking structure. It's a weak low. I think. Hold on. I'm playing music in the background. It's easier for me to work. It's my favorite one. Music for productive work. Tony Stark's concentrated music. Just listen to this thing and you'll be good. Okay. So the daily aspect, it looks like it's still bearish, and actually it's been maintaining this trend line. I didn't even realize that. So from here to the bottom, look at that. Adjusted perfectly. So until it breaks here, you're still bearish. It's not the best, but I know it says peak formation low, but sometimes it doesn't always work. So I'm not touching this pair. It can go one or two ways. It's either going to continue down to the recent low, which honestly sounds better, or it's going to break up this trend line, hit this the 200 EMA, pull back, bounce off of it, and continue. So I'm not touching this pair until something happens. It's just there's nothing aligned for me. We'll go to AUDJPY, another JPY. Let's go. So this one I can actually change. Here we go. Okay. We'll go back. This is one of the pairs I'm back testing too. It's a lot of setups. Okay, so let me move this. If you want to take a look at that, pause it and read what it says, go ahead. That's what I look for. Oh, excuse me. Jesus. Was I on the 5-minute chart? What was I doing? Oh, I was looking at the market on the smaller time frame. I'm testing it on the 1 minute, the 5 minute to see how it works. It works. It's just you got to be extremely careful. Okay. I took this buy last week. It's hitting the zone again. The question is, what does it want to do? It's hitting the 4-hour water. I want to say it's going to follow all the other JPY pairs. There's a divergent M, clear as day. It's not overbought, but it is divergent. Maybe the 1 hour shows a little bit cleaner setup. I didn't see. Overbought and no shark fin. No worries. I don't need this. I don't need this. Don't need this. I think this still holds validity, guys. Honestly, I think this is gonna keep dropping. Let me see if there's certain EMAs on a higher time frame. Did bounce off of that daily water, right? This is why we had the buy. I think it's gonna go back down and retest it because this is like the water between the Mayo, right? Remember this stuff? Bounce off the water here, 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 here. So I believe that this will drop tonight. Just off of what I have, I'm sticking to it. So it says peak formation low. I don't like how it's set up for a buy right now. It's just everything in me is not saying buy. I think this thing's going to continue to drop. That's my opinion. So I'm going to stay bearish. I'm sticking to my gut. I'm going to stick bearish to AJ here. All right. So look for a stop hunt high. This may have already made its move, mainly because it's a JPY pair. We actually could get a setup here in the 15-minute if I delete this. Right. So let's look for a setup, right? We have, there's hidden divergence here. Could have took that sell. We have a peak here. But I don't want to take that peak. I want to take something that stands out. Can't be this one. I think we want to, if we're going to trade this, it needs to shoot up. Let it hit this water. Once it does that, it's either going to take out. I don't even want to use this peak. This is the only peak that makes sense. So let's draw it up real quick. See, sometimes it takes a couple moves depending on where it's at, but we'll see. Let's say this is the current low. Look at that. Lines up with the 15 to 61.8. So this is going to be the sell. Then it needs to definitely take out this peak, which it already didn't do, actually. So it would need to shoot up past this one, shark fin, sell that shit. You could sell it to the 500 EMA or the 500 moving average. So I'm going to say bearish. Right? So it's on a 15-minute time frame. 1 hour is not really showing shit. All right, now let's go to AUDNZD. Seems to be respecting this trend line. I can continue this down. Still matches. Still that. It still works. It's clearly respecting this trend line. Okay, so we got a 4-hour support and a daily resistance all lined up here. That's probably why it's been gradually making its way down. It's hit the 50 EMA a couple times. This looks like it might go up again and hit it, but let me look from a daily perspective what we're dealing with. So it's inside of a daily support as we speak and n/or resistance, depending on where it goes. The TDI is still showing it wants to make a move down. This isn't really a solid move up yet, but it's too tight. I mean, the daily, look at the EMAs. So all this tells me is this. Let's leave this. When I see these EMAs, all I see is this. So the fact that we're all super tight here, just because it's low, doesn't mean it's gonna just reverse here. It's not the tendency of the range. It's gonna continue down. So I'm gonna say we're bearish overall on AUDNZD just because of that reason, which now points my bias on the lower time frame to be more sells. So even though it's retesting this trend line, obviously it's been broken a few times. So we're gonna stick to sells. Ideally, I'm gonna wait for this to hit the 50 EMA. Now it's hitting the catch up on the 1 hour, which is the 15-minute water. So we probably already got the hidden divergence that we needed. But the problem is nothing really lines up for it. This peak is right here, but it didn't take out that high. It barely did. I wouldn't really count that. And that's something else I'm looking into right now is see how like this peak right here and this peak, if I have the line right on top of it, they look almost identical. Well, this one's actually up a little bit higher. So this one could be valid. Let's see. Bounced off the 38.2. Now let's see what happens if I drop it down to this one. It's on the 78.6. And it hit the 50. So yeah, I'm gonna say we're bullish or bearish. AUDNZD is bearish. AN. AM. Look for sells. Primarily from the 15-minute. Just look cleaner at the moment than the 4-hour, but it's still bearish. Yeah. Okay. Information low. Ooh, I was right. Perfect fucking play out, man. I said NZDCAD was going to go up on Friday to hit this high. I wanted it to drop down to here. So because it did not, guess what? No trade. That doesn't mean I wasn't right, but it shot up and it did its thing. And now we're going to start looking for a setup that brings us down because look at that. Oh, man. It dropped down. I can delete this now. I don't need it. But we got hidden divergence on here on the daily. And it's hitting a trend line that's been solid. It's hitting the 500 moving average. Holy shit. And it's overbought. And it's showing getting ready for a shark fin. And it's hitting divergence. We're looking for sells in this bad boy. This is on the daily, guys. This is on the daily. Now, just because it's not in the 50 doesn't mean we can't use another EMA. And that's something that I'm also looking into of how it reacts when it hits the 500. And right now, if I'm going to drop my fibs, damn it. It's got to be based off of this peak right here. Get as close as possible. Right there. Okay. And now let's bring it down. Right at the 78.6. That is a setup right there. So guess what? We're taking this shit for a sell. We're getting ready for a sell. Doesn't mean we have to be in the sell at the moment. We can if you want to hold the trade for days. But I think we're going to have plenty of time to look for sells on this pair, guys. Now, clearly it hasn't made the reversal yet. The EMAs are spread out, which is perfect. Oops. EMAs are fanned out, which gives us room for reversal moves to happen like this. And I think this is what we want to wait for. Okay. If we want to be extra clear on this confirmation, because this is the daily, it's not going to just play out overnight. And trust me, it doesn't matter if you get this move. You want to be confirming this shit. So this is a daily hit on a daily trend line, on a daily 500 moving average. Then we need to see a shot down, a break, and a retest for that drop. Because if it doesn't, this thing could drop down, hit this 50, take out this low, and then continue up. And then we got a regular hidden divergence for a move up. I don't see it really taking out this low though. In the sense of, or taking out the low and taking out on the price right here. Well, I do. I don't see it taking out this low and then not taking out this low. That's what I meant. I want to see this. I want to see this because if it breaks here, that's your confirmation. If it breaks this line, that is your confirmation for a sell. All you have to do now is wait for a pullback on the 15-minute or the 1 hour, and you sell that shit. All right, because the daily gives us time. So NZDCAD is sells. NZDCAD, and I'm gonna put this on my keep an eye on list for NZDCAD. So NCAD. Perfecto. Now we're gonna wait. I'll do a couple more pairs because I kind of want to focus on the JPY pairs. NZD Chief's not really doing anything. NZDJPY. This one, it's all the JPY pairs I'm really focused on right now because they're the ones actually doing all the fucking moves. So this is good. Didn't actually play out the way we wanted it to, so we didn't touch it. Look, it didn't touch the 50. Now it's hitting it. Now is a question of what's it want to do. It's also hitting the 500 moving average. Now it's not like to a T, but broke through it. We tested it. EMAs are tight. I think we're going to see the same thing happen on here, then all the same, then on GJ and EJ. Look at all these pairs. Look at. I have to test all of this. What have I been doing? Oh yeah, busy with other shit. So we got regular divergence here in the daily, meaning this thing needs to at least take some sort of drop, or at least break this structure, then continue the drop. But I thought the daily, I'm sorry, that was the 4 hour. Daily looks like this. It did the same thing, hit the water, pulled up to the catch up, and now we want to see it drop. And you can see, look at this. That was a major change of character right here. So this is the new high. Pullback, not just going to be one hit. It's going to come back down, maybe pull back a little farther. See the weekly. Same thing happened here. Change of character, new high. This is going to pull back. This has to pull back. It's due for it. It's been needing it. It needs to breathe. So we're going to see this thing shoot down. I'm going to say NJ is also bearish. All the JPY pairs, mainly just bearish. Okay. Now, let me see. We're going off of the 4 hour here, actually, because this is the setup. I broke this trend line. I broke this one. We're going off of hidden divergence here. It's already broke this one. We got this one here. Not the best setup. I'd use this one. Perfect. So I'm sticking to my setup. This is going to drop. NZDJPY will drop. Now, sec. Now that it's hitting this EMA right now, this probably gives us an opportunity to look for a sell on the 15-minute, which it's hitting these EMAs right now. And if you can see this, it's about to be having hidden divergence. So I think it's going to shoot up a little bit more, and we're going to see this puppy drop. This would be great to go from here, this peak, right? So we go from here, there. It might shoot up to the 78.6, regardless. Primary areas. What is this? Okay. I'm looking for sells. Now let's go to EURJPY. This one I already have a setup on. Same thing. I'm bearish on this already. It pulled back to the zones, hit the 1 hour, hit the 50, dropping past it, and it's pulling back to a key area. So I'm going to go off of here. Bouncing off the 78.6. Perfect. And I think we're going to see some sort of continuation down. Now it's hitting these EMAs. I'm trying to see how it plays out, but at the moment, I'm still bearish. I think it's going to bypass all these EMAs and it's going to just go right down. All through this 1 hour resistance and support. So we'll see. But if this is going to drop, it's going to drop down to here, right? EURJPY. And I'm going to put that in here too. EJ bearish. Okay. And then Chief JPY. This one played out perfectly last night or last week. This was one of the setups I took on it. It worked out perfect. So let me zoom in. I took this pair for a buy right here, right on the 50, hit the support zone. Hit two support zones actually. You see, and it hit the supply and demand zone. Hit the supply and demand zone and went straight up to take profit, which was right up here, right at the recent high and surplus. So I got 88 pips out of that. And I don't need this. I don't need this. And I don't need this. Okay. Let's see. This one already pushed up higher. See, remember I told you it was going to either push up higher in certain pairs and then drop? This one did that. So it pushed up, and now I want to see it drop a little bit more. It's got divergence on the same end, same retrospect there. So Chief JPY is, in my eyes, still bearish, but it doesn't have the same setup as all the other ones, right? So I'm not as confident as this one as I am all the other ones. But that should be good enough for you guys. I mean, we have bullish, we're bullish on UCAD, EURCHF, EURAUD, and then bearish on GJ, NJ, AJ, EJ, AUDNZD, and NZDCAD. So let's see how this plays out, guys. This should be really, really fun. And let's kick off the week with fucking W's and get back at it tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow.